Hello, everyone. My name is Vladimir Tomko. I'm the CEO and co-founder of blockchain Cuties Universe, and I'd like to start my presentation with totally agreeing with everything that John just said. So in terms of users, we're not there, and unfortunately right now it's not within our grasp to scale as fast as we can. And there are many issues to that. Some of them are technical, some of them are purely regulatory, but they're still here. And because we are on a market for almost 2 years, so we are one of the oldest operational live games that's being frequently updated on the market, we have a lot of information to share about the things that we've tried in terms of marketing, in terms of engagement, about the things that we failed at. So a little bit about ourselves. So we're on 4 blockchains, the first game to run on 4. We are one of the top games on the market, and we also thought that our game is going to be made for mass adoption. So we started out as a crypto collectible and drafted a plan how it will become a strategy game. And last year we decided to make that plan a reality, but we're always doing a milestone checks whether we're doing everything right or not. And in December we decided to look at the competition and see that things are actually moving a little bit different. So things that we thought do matter actually don't, and I will tell about them in my deck. So let's speak about the market and how it changed. So from developers' perspective, when we launched at the beginning of 2018, there was only one blockchain for developers available that supported smart contracts. It's Ethereum. There were literally hundreds of CryptoKitties copycats. Crypto everything, starting from doggies, TDs, alpacas, really everything. Majority of crypto game developers back then weren't from gaming backgrounds, so they didn't know how to make games, and most of them failed. The infrastructure around dApps was very poor. Literally, we had MetaMask that worked on 2 browsers, desktop versions of them. It's Chrome and Firefox. And in March, first mobile support came up. It was Toshi. Right now it's known as Coinbase Wallet, and that's it. Basically, if you wanted to play crypto games, these were your setting. The games, all of them were particularly, majority of them were of poor quality, and there were no mobile games. And another important thing that didn't help the market to evolve faster, there were almost no venture investments into game developers. So everybody was working out of their own funds, but there was big hype and there were big money on the market. From players' perspective, it was very similar. Majority were from trading and ICO investor backgrounds, but the market had a lot of developers, and that created a very interesting effect. Players cared about decentralization, they cared about your smart contracts, they even checked whether you're true to what you advertise or not. So they checked the code, they were developers. Asian markets were still not domestic, so Chinese people played CryptoKitties and other games, and that was good. It's not that we see right now. And some people were bought NFTs just because of technology, they believed in it. It's not present anymore. It was the start of bear market, purchasing power was very huge, so people had a lot of money and they excuse me, I will close the Telegram. So purchasing power was very huge, and there were very few flippers and bot creators. By flippers, I mean people who participate in all kind of giveaways, take your assets that might worth anything and try to flip them for nothing. So basically, they just destroy your economy. What do we see right now? 24 blockchains that are dApp ready. Some are more popular, some are less popular. They have audience there, and you can work with that. We have pretty much good infrastructure, especially around Ethereum, EOS, and Tron blockchains. So you can build for mobile, you can do the games on Unity. That wasn't available before. There is a lot of node management solutions, wallet, custodian services. So it's a good time to start doing a game. Majority of developers that are operating on the market right now have previous experience, so competition is getting stronger. And a lot of big non-crypto companies are slowly joining the market. market. So as John said, Ubisoft is researching and planning to release something. Microsoft testing out NFTs with their loyalty program. It's not gaming yet. Samsung, HTC, Opera all have their stores and they're probing the space. So we're slowly getting there. And solid investments are being made into blockchain gaming companies. Actually, more than, I believe, $52 million was made since May 2019 till December, so that's quite a lot. In terms of players, market became bigger, almost a little bit more than 2 times bigger than during the hype of CryptoKitties, but players became more picky and their spending power decreased, so they don't spend as much money as they used to in 2018. Majority of players don't care about smart contracts. They even buy into the advertisement that you have a crypto game if it's really not. They only care about true ownership and ability to sell assets to make money. That's the #1 thing you need to keep in mind. There are a lot of flippers, professional flipping communities in the market, and a lot of bot creators. And we are deep into bear market, so we are all earning less than we thought we will be when we first entered the market. So what are the key changes? Well, basically, as I said, spending power decreased, and that made a lot of prominent decentralized game developers leave the market. Not only game developers like Chibi Fighters and Ethereum, but also media partners like D-Gaming Media and Gamunculus. They all either pivoted or left. Most of the copycats died out, 99% of them. Competition became stronger, and the market itself is increasing, it's becoming more mature, but the hype is gone. So it's harder to do marketing right now, but it's cheaper. And there was a shift in paradigm in early 2017, and things that worked before ceased to work, and new methods of communicating your idea became available. For example, majority of you know the game Cryptodozer. It's a very beautiful Korean game. It was launched in March or April last year, and the game wasn't a crypto game at the very beginning. So they stored all the information in cookies, and people bought into that. If they were to launch in 2018, they wouldn't be successful at all. Now they are, and their funnel onboarding is a lot slicker than majority of the old games. So old games needed to adapt, and this is what I'm talking about. There are many this type of things that changed. Then key success factors changed. In 2018, it was time to market. For example, there was a game, EtherQuest, that launched in March. They didn't do any marketing. Players found themselves, and they've earned $50K per first week. They had 43 players. So that's a big amount. Right now, it's not on the table. And right now, important factor is good economy. Your game can be can look very shitty, have bad experience, but if players are able to earn money playing your game, it's a great game. They will play it. So let's speak about marketing and PR. If you have a great game that no one knows about, just imagine you don't have anything. Your product is not existing. You need to try to deliver, try to communicate that you have a game. So this section of my deck will go as follows. I will tell about the things that we tried and whether it worked for us or not, and how do we do it right now on the market. So Instagram, we have the biggest account among all crypto games on Instagram, and I don't recommend you do it because we've earned $2 from it. So we have almost 800 followers and no money. Facebook is very good as paid advertising tool, but it's pretty hard to do because there are a lot of issues, and there is sort of crypto is not banned anymore on Facebook, but only 2 companies on the market do advertise there. So profitability of content marketing on Facebook is very weak because their business model is that you have an audience, say you onboarded 1,000 users, you do a post, only 100 users or 200 users see them, and they wish that you do a sponsored post so that 1,000 would see it, but you cannot because you're a crypto game. So Telegram works great if you do it the right way, and if you do cross promos, especially if your partners have good channels, not groups, because people communicate in groups, and if you see a marketing message, it just flies up to the top. You need to do it in channels. The profitability is medium. Spam used to work, but because people were under spam attacks since 2017, they've developed tolerance towards it, and all of the good good partners on the market have anti-bot filters there, so don't waste your money on that. And time. Twitter is the best tool to use, despite the fact that they've cut their virality in the summer of 2019. But there's a lot of crypto community guys there. People are into the space. They have money. Always you do Twitter. Twitter is extremely important. Discord is similar to Telegram, but in that regard that all audience are gamers, and there are less people there, but they are more acquainted to what you do. So you must do Discord as well. The profitability is medium. Reddit and Steemit. Steemit is basically a crypto Reddit. People who know how to do it tell that it's great, it brings good users, good money, but you need to create a separate community there, because Redditors are not the same people that stay in Telegram or in Discord. So for us, profitability is low, but I know projects that benefit from Reddit a lot. Wechat. Wechat has the highest engagement rate in terms of like ask me anything sessions or just conversations, but you need to have Chinese community managers that are fluent in Chinese to be there. And because of the government issues, I believe groups in Wechat cannot be more than 500 people. So in order to maintain great community, you need to have several groups there. So for us, profitability is low. Pinterest, we didn't do it, but we're thinking of doing that. That's why I can't tell you about it right now. Uptrend, didn't do it ourselves, but we spoke with some teams that did, and they were mostly skeptical. Bellacam is a crypto Instagram, and it has no money there, so don't bother. Blogging. There are two models that work. First one is you set up your own blog, say on WordPress, on your domain, and you do that. What it provides is more control, more flexibility. There are no like upraises like Medium does, for example. Hey, you've read 10 articles per day. How about you pay and read the 11th? But it requires your team to be very good at search engine optimization. You will have to drive the traffic to your blog yourself. So there is no discovery, no new player discovery. And the second way is to go with existing platforms like Publish0x and Medium. Medium has a lot of crypto users there. It has some restrictions, but it provides good discovery if you do it right. So I suggest you go with a platform like Publish0x or Medium, because like for our blog, we were able to drive like, I believe, 1/5 of our top paying users from Medium. But we're on top of Medium communities in gaming, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum. So it took us a year to get there, but it's working. And for your blog to work, you need two things. Better if you do them like simultaneously, but you can do them separately. So you need to deliver very often, at least 3 times a week, and you need to write like good articles. Nobody shares your articles, like really, very few people. But search engines do value you more if you like a constant writer. So you get occasional traffic that is interested in your goods. Paid ads, the most interesting part. So Google Ads, very effective, very hard to do, and they have 2 layers of crypto bans, the official and unofficial. So you can even have a totally white landing that doesn't have any crypto words, meaning like no keywords about crypto, but it has like some links that point to very prominent websites. In the crypto world, you will still be considered as scam and you won't be able to do ads. Facebook, very effective, also hard to do, a lot of rejections. You should try to pass them. And it is easier to do if you have an app, which is pretty hard to launch nowadays, but it is possible. Like Cuties Universe does that, for example. Crypto media outlets like Cointelegraph, CoinDesk, expensive, very expensive. Effective if you have a right type of game. So if you have something simple like crypto collectible with easy onboarding funnel, it'll work. If you have like a very heavy RPG or strategy game, it won't work. So you need to decide for yourself. Depth trackers like Depth are very effective, especially if you have like small audience, because this is basically your most targeted audience on the market. You definitely need to go there, and I do suggest you buy ads there. Dab-centric communities like crypto gamers, e-gamers, they do offer paid advertisement as well, but it works well if you're very new, if you don't have big audiences, and you need to negotiate for better prices on packages. So like, try everything, email blasts, banners, articles, featurings, and so on. Then it works. Doing paid ads in Discord, in Telegram, it works in a very specific cases where, for example, a crypto media outlet creates a very interesting channel that a lot of people read, because there they usually like post 2 free posts a day, and your content stays on top. Plus they do pin it, so they receive a notification, your users receive a notification, then it works, but it's usually very expensive. And it also depends on the game. And as more as we progress into like dApps becoming a bigger and bigger thing, the less it works. So the rarer your product, the better. Whoa, something happened. Sorry. No, it's on my side. Then CPA networks. We tried several ones, and only one get us positive ROI, but like 101%. So I suggest if you're not into this business and you don't know how it operates, to skip CPA networks. Affiliate networks works great, even if you do the trash ones. For example, we decided to do like advertising on Russian and Ukrainian like sort of hype projects, high yield investment projects, and it brought us around 60 users. Some of them pay, so definitely try that out. Bulletin boards like Bitcoin Talk, don't bother, they don't work anymore. Crypto related email blasts, they're expensive and they don't work at this moment. Token listings for ICO, STOs, very ineffective, don't lose your money there. And CoinMarketCap ads, we did that like with our partners, and it didn't work for us. It didn't work normally for Cuties Universe, and it didn't work for several more projects. So there are a lot of traffic there. You get a lot of visitors, but very poor conversion. So decide, maybe you can invent some very cool banner and try it out, but it didn't work for us. YouTube influencers, we didn't work with tier 1, they're very expensive. Well, we did, but for previous crypto-related projects, and during 2017 it was extremely powerful back then, but then a lot of bloggers have scammed because they offered you to invest in ICOs that were scams. And in 2018 it didn't work. We tried some tier 2 influencers in 2019 and it was somewhat effective. But you need to like, they don't do it for free. Bloggers usually are not interested in your assets. They want like money or crypto. So if you have that, you can try. Streamers, we didn't work with streamers, but Axie Infinity did, and it was massively successful. But for streamers to work, it shouldn't be like a one-time shot. You need to have him on payroll or like pay him in your game assets if they're liquid. So on DLive and on Twitch, like streamers like Lieutenant Zonda brought Axie Infinity to a completely different level. People are watching that, and it brings new users. Public relations. So PR is extremely important, but what I found out that majority of people in like crypto gaming space don't understand that it's not about direct traffic. So they think that if they have an article on Forbes, then a lot of people will come and start playing your game. It's not true, it won't happen, and it is very expensive to do if you don't have a PR guy in your own team on payroll. So, but it is very important. Why? Because it creates a leverage. If you have a good article and you do a proper PR on yourself and your channels and social media, you're able to open many doors, you're able to create buzz, and if you have a proper PR campaign where articles in like tier 2 media pop up every day, people are starting to feel the FOMO effect, and then they come and play into your game. But it's not the articles alone. It's articles plus a lot lot of supplementary work. And PR opens up great opportunities in terms of credibility. So if you want to partner with somebody and this somebody doesn't know you, the chances are low. But if like Forbes wrote about you, they may reconsider. So interviews is pretty good as well. The same rules apply as to regular PR, but they should be funneled into business development like right away. You have a great interview somewhere, try to contact the people, try to show your interview somehow, but don't be pushy, then it works. And my advice, if you have like several people who can be talking heads in your company, try to pick one, the one that won't leave the company soon, and try to invest in him. So this way it will be like a lot easier for you to bring like more value in terms of public speeches. He will be invited to conferences. His circle of contacts will grow. If you do like 5 people, you won't get this effect. Partnerships and collabs. Well, partnerships are, I think, the greatest and the cheapest instrument of marketing in our space because the market is small, and what it does, it creates value, it creates buzz in social media, sometimes in real media, and it allows you to combine the marketing power of 2 companies if it's like a mutually profitable partnership. And of course, it increases your brand legitimacy on the market. So always do partnerships, but not all partnerships are equally profitable for both parties. So if you think that this partnership is not good for you, you probably should skip it. There are 3 popular types of partnerships on our market right now. Simple announcement of partnership, like put your logo there, put your logo there. It doesn't bring like traffic at all. But if you like want to speak with somebody who wants to know that you're working, say, with some big guys from crypto industry, it works. Cross promo, the most popular partnership, it provides light audience exchange because you do promo posts, they do promo posts, you do letters, they do letters, so your audience becomes their audience and vice versa. It's effective. And most useful are collaborations. They're most expensive but engaging type of partnerships. It provides value for both parties, but it's expensive. If done right, very effective. Like an example, in 2018, late 2018, we did a partnership with CryptoBots. They were leaving the market, but they had a pretty big base of users. So we decided to create a unique NFTs based on their art in our game and to give them for free for players who bought like very expensive stuff in their game. And for that, we asked that we do an email blast from their account in their style. And we were better at email marketing than that. So we were managed to attract 86 players from their community to ours, and they play up to date, and they pay money. So it's a good partnership for us. And giveaways, the most important and scary topic. Giveaways work good if your game is new and you need some audience, but you should always be cautious when trying to make them when you're trying to make them, because they need to be calculated. If they're done wrong and people can somehow exploit them, they will just dump your economy. So our community asks us all the time not to do giveaways, but we can't stop doing that because it's effective tools of like user acquisition. But basically, it's not you who pay the price for giveaways, but your community. If you're like very, very tight on that, some people might just quit and you might lose like good players. So it is very important to do it right. So what are the takeaways? You have to be everywhere, even if it's hard. Try to like talk about your game in a positive manner everywhere. Every cup, every door, they should speak about your game. Not all partnership and collaborations are equally profitable. So, as I said, if you think that it's not worth it to you, you should skip that. Try to find what works for you as fast as possible, because sometimes people like on the conference like this say, hey, we're doing that, it works great. And you're like blinded by the fact that it helps them. It might not help you. Try to put like at least 2 months into research and development. If it doesn't like show positive ROI in 2 months and it takes your time, skip that. Market matures and some methods become less effective. Everybody on this conference that are not into crypto are waiting for times where they can do like ROI-based user acquisition on Facebook, ad networks, Google, and just like tune the funnel. It's not here yet, so content marketing plus PR plus business development is the king right now. So whether you like it or not, if you want your game to be successful and you haven't invented something completely unique, you need to do that. And you need to try to expand your channels as much as possible. If you're always connecting with the same people in the same communities, a good example is Neon District. So their Ethereum community is around 60% correlated with everybody else's community. So it's easy to come to Neon District and pick the players that play that game to address them. For example, my Crypto Heroes community and 0x community have around 92 and 95% of audience isolation, meaning that 95% who play 0x Universe never played any other game, and you won't be able to pick that audience to your game. So, and that's happening because they use unique marketing channels. Engagement. Well, I won't teach you how to engage people in the games because probably you know that better than me because it's a gaming conference and people, the same methods work in crypto games as they work in regular games. But what's important here is that from what we see in our game and in our partner games, nothing makes users more engaged than ability to make quick bucks by playing your game. So this is a top one priority. So the key takeaways that we took from these 2 years, almost 2 years of operation. If your game is launched, new content, release speed, and graphics really don't matter. So you might be very slow. Look at my Crypto Heroes and Axie Infinity. They released so little in 2019 in terms of product updates, and we released like 10 times more, but their economy is performing better, and I will get into that in the next slide, why it's happening. And people play that. People maybe are not happy, they want new content, but they won't leave the game because it brings them money. So this is extremely important. Just keep that in mind when you do your crypto game or blockchain game. Then players, despite the fact that they understand that if they bring in their friends, new audience, and the whole pool of community will grow, there will be more money, they don't do that. So they need a direct incentive. And we started out thinking that maybe in this community it will be a little bit differently. So we have a referral system right now, but it's very soft. It doesn't, well, basically it doesn't provide money, a portion of money from what we get. And because it doesn't, players don't use that. So we do the marketing ourselves, our community doesn't help. But in my Crypto Heroes, situation is different. They have these factions, they have king of a faction, and king of a faction receive a portion of all money that comes from the players that play in this faction. So kings are usually very rich people, and there was a moment where one guy spent around, I believe, $20,000 into marketing of their game using a special referral link so that people would come and play into his faction. And that's a good way of doing collaborations with referral programs. So keep that in mind. Then, economy takeaways. Don't underestimate players' will to maximize their profits. If you want to continue developing your game as a game but not as an exchange and create like a free content that is like obtainable by doing certain actions, not just by paying for that, you need to enforce certain policies against multi-accounts and botting from the very beginning. Because games with open economies are a lot harder to maintain than regular games. You don't control the market. You're participating in it on the same level as the games. And if what the things that you provide for actions that use only time, not money, are well, they worth something, then people will find a way, like in a month, in a two, to maximize the speed of how they can get that. And when this happens, you receive some kind of monopoly. For example, we have a guy who has 13,000 cuties. He earned $18,000 alone during summer 2019 by playing our game, and he flooded the market with cheap items. So our market, because we didn't have like bot prohibited policies, we were true to philosophy of open market. We didn't have the minimal price. Our item market dropped down in prices 10 times. Just because he were able to get them faster and other people weren't able to outsell him. So keep that in mind as well, because players, they don't know if you're going to stay on the market for a year or two, even if they believe in you. They want $1 today, not $5 tomorrow. So they don't care about your game's economical well-being, despite the fact that they will tell you that they do. And this is a sad truth of crypto gaming. You need to keep that in mind. And another important thing, if your game is well known, it has traction, at some point there will be a bot market inside your game. And people will buy these activities from one another. So thank you very much. If we have time and you have questions, but I think we don't, yeah, then you can ask me.